Hello everyone, and welcome to a solo mini edition of OGP. I'm Michael, and we'll just be doing these whenever job or scheduling conflicts come up, and we just want to bring you a short, quick dose of the show. So, to get things started, I just want to give some brief video game recommendations. This goes out especially to people who own an Analouge Pocket. I've been messing with mine a ton this past weekend, and here are some highlights. Big one is the Game & Watch core. I finally got that all up and running, and it's really cool. The Game & Watch stuff is very faithfully reproduced. You can use different frames, you can have it just be the game screen itself, you can kind of get in between where the bezel is on the screen, instead of the entire console art. It's really cool. There's a lot of really great options with this, and it's very accurate. And also, another part of this Game & Watch core is that it actually is compatible with a handful of knockoff Game & Watches and Tiger Electronics games. I tried out Gauntlet, and it was actually kind of shocking. The game's a third-person dungeon crawler. And if that sounds impossible for an LCD game, it's actually a little surprising how well done it is considering, but I think they probably should have just went with the top-down perspective of the arcade game. Another thing I've been messing with is the Arduboy core. I think that's how it's pronounced. It's based on the Arduino technology and is like sort of a hobbyist console architecture that was created. It's pretty neat. I guess sort of tying into the last thing I said about Game & Watch. There's a lot of Game & Watch inspired games for it. Some just like straight up remakes, but with fluid animation now. I played ones based on Fire, Donkey Kong, and Donkey Kong 2 that were really cool. There's also a very competent version of Yahtzee for it. Kind of gives me some retro throwback feelings to the old LCD Yahtzee handhelds. And I also played a game called Mystic Balloon, which is a platform game with parallax scrolling. Now, the Arduboy is most comparable to like really high-end calculator style games, so it's only black and white, but the kind of stuff they're able to push on this is really cool. I've also been messing around a little bit with the Capcom CPS-1 arcade system, and a couple games on there that I've really been enjoying are Street Fighter Zero, the first alpha game, which is just a beautiful, beautiful game. Probably my favorite Street Fighter for the CPS-1, and there are plenty. Mega Man The Power Battles, which is sort of like an arcade boss rush Mega Man game. Ton of fun, really flashy, really colorful, love it. And this is one I just discovered today, actually. It's called Quiz and Dragons, which is a arcade quiz game with a fantasy aesthetic. It's very fun, though the trivia is a bit dated and focuses very heavily on like 1970s and 80s pop culture. Reminds me a lot of the quiz games that were on Game Center CX occasionally, and I didn't know that this had a English localization, so it was very cool. Okay, with that being said, the main thing I want to talk about today is news that actually broke earlier today, that Charles Martinet is stepping down as the voice of Mario, and this is frankly shocking. We've got a Gamescom right around the corner, and I wasn't really expecting anything big out of Nintendo, but this is huge, and not necessarily tied into Gamescom, but maybe this is indicative of an upcoming Nintendo announcement of sorts. They did put out a statement, in fact, where they said that, they congratulated Martinet on his years of work as Mario, and so they'd be putting out a video of Miyamoto and Martinet that'll say something. I'm curious as to what exactly that'll be. They also said that he's now a Mario ambassador, which unclear exactly what that means. I guess he's just going to go around to events probably and promote the series or something. So I am kind of curious as to what this video that they're going to put out is going to entail. One theory I have is related to Super Mario Bros. Wonder, because that's coming out in 2 months. And as soon as that trailer dropped, people were wondering if Martinet was actually voicing Mario anymore. I feel like that kind of got the ball rolling on this whole conversation, actually. It could be that this video announces that Wonder will be his last performance as Mario, because I've not seen any confirmation that it's not him, but this definitely lends some credence to the idea that it isn't. I saw this on IGN. He did say back in 2021 that he wanted to continue voicing Mario till he drops dead. So one does have to wonder about what has led to this decision to retire. And I kind of doubt we'll get any concrete answer until his affiliation with Nintendo is, completely severed. And who knows when that'll be. So I think the big question is, what now, right? Who could take over? His voice is so iconic. I've heard some people suggest that maybe Chris Pratt will take the helm, since he did voice Mario in the Mario movie. I don't really think that's his scene. I also think it would just be a bad fit for the character. That was definitely one of the weaker aspects of that movie. The other, perhaps even worse possibility that I've heard suggested, though, is that AI would do it. And I'm sure AI could do a fair Charles Martinet impression. There's definitely enough, voice recording out there to make it work, but fuck that. I think that would be one of the worst things that Nintendo's ever done, bar none. Just horrible, awful, scary idea there. I think the best outcome here is that they get another person to take over the role, and I imagine whatever the next voice of Mario is will definitely have that Martinet influence on it. He's the standard Mario at this point. There's been many Marios over the years. We had Captain Lou Albano on the Super Show. We had Bob Hoskins in the live-action movie, and then Martinet and Chris Pratt. But ask anyone, and the Martinet voice is the one that they're going to identify with Mario. I think the big question now is it Martinet in the Super Mario Bros. Wonder trailer? If not, who is it? And what will this Miyamoto Martinet video entail? Perhaps an introduction of the new voice of Mario? Or maybe an explanation that, hey, we've got enough voice clips of Martinet until the end of time. It's hard to say, but it's definitely an interesting time, and I look forward to seeing how this all progresses. Alright, that's all for this mini episode of OGP. I will see you guys next time. Bye.